folks, so today we're going to do kind of a St. Patrick's Day special, but you can have this any time of the year. Especially famous in the USA. It's corned beef and cabbage. Originated when the Irish immigrants went to the USA and didn't have enough bacon basically, so they moved on to corned beef. It's a really nice recipe. We don't eat enough of this in Ireland. Have a look. Here we go. Okay, so normally for corned beef you would use brisket, but it's quite difficult in Ireland to get brisket. So it is, unless you go to somewhere that slaughters their own animals. So someone has a butcher that has their own abattoir and slaughters the whole animal. Normally butchers in Ireland, they don't do that, or they would use the brisket for something else. So they don't have it for sale in butchers. So what I've used here basically is topside. So it's still a tough piece of beef. Probably not as tough as brisket, but anyway, it's going to work just as well. So it is, because it's just going to be corned anyhow. So along with that, then I have my spice mix. So I've got some mixed peppercorns here, some bay leaves, and I've got some mustard seeds. So mustard and beef go really well together. You can just do peppercorns and bay leaf if you want. That's absolutely fine. Some people just corn it in just a salt water solution, and that's fine too. So what does brine mean, or what does it do to your meat? Basically what it does is negative charge ions get into your protein. Don't get bogged down by this, it's fine. Negative charge ions get into your protein, and they get in to your protein, and then they repel from each other. So they separate and they make a gap in your beef basically, and that allows the water to come in now, and it'll plump up nicely. Now you could plump up meat with just water, but it won't keep the water unless you have the salt there. The salt will just hold the water in, it'll retain the water. All right, so now we've got that bit of science out of the way. This is about 1.6 1.7 kilos, so it's close to 4 pounds basically. So with that, I want the same amount of water to my beef. So I've got 1.7 say, and I'm going to use 1.7 of water. Now, first of all, I'm going to get 700 of that water in here. Okay. And then I'm going to keep a liter of water here, and all that's going to do is just going to cool down my brine a bit quicker basically. So into that water, we're going to get our salt. So 5% of your water is your salt, okay? So 5% of 1700 is 85 grams. All right, 5% of 1700 is 85 grams. So in with the salt. Simple as that. And then let's get all those in there. Now, if I was doing something on a barbecue with brisket or something like that, I would have some brown sugar in there as well. But I'm not. This is just for corned beef and cabbage. So we're just going to get that and bring it up to the boil, and then turn it off basically, and then we're going to add our cold water in there. Okay, so my brine solution is ready. So I'm going to get my cold water in here first. Now I'm also going to get some beet juice in here. So this is just your beetroot juice I took from a jar basically, and I want to put this in there because it's going to give the beef a nice flavor after, or a nice color I should say rather than flavor, after it cooks. People use sodium nitrates for this, like a pink salt solution for this. That's fine if you want to use that. I don't think it's healthy, to be honest with you. I'd rather use beet juice. It's just in a more natural way. The nitrate ones will, you can see a little bit of beets in there, that's fine. The nitrates will work better for the color, but it's just a color. I'm not bothered about that. Okay, in with our hot. And then we want to let that get to room temperature basically. So once it's come to room temperature, which should be pretty quickly, we're going to submerge our beef in that. And we want to keep it pressed down, so we might just get a plate on top of that. Now we're going to cover it, and then we're going to get it into the fridge. And I'm going to keep that in the fridge for about 4 days, but every day I'm going to come along, I'm going to remove the top, take off the plate, give the beef a little turn around. I'm going to do that every day for 4 days, just to make sure that the complete beef is being corned properly and brined properly. Okay, so it's been 4 days now I've had this in the brine. Just going to remove the plate. As you can see, nice little pink colour on top. And then I'm just going to remove the liquid also. So now I have the beef out of the brine. Don't worry about the colour of it. You could add the colour by, as I said before, adding sulfites. But as I said, I don't believe they're really healthy. So I'm just going to get this straight into my crock pot or slow cooker. Put it on low and cook it off for 8 hours. I'm not even going to add any liquid. There's enough peppercorns there already. There's enough salt in this, so I don't really need to season it. So in we go. So there we go, it's in the crock pot now. As you can see, it still has the peppercorn and the mustard seeds on top, and I'll leave the bay leaves on top as well. It's just going to add a little bit more flavour. So on for 8 hours we go, and then we have a look. So it's been the full 8 hours now, just about. And as you can see, it's done. But now we're going to let it sit out and rest. I can even feel that now. That is nice and succulent and soft. So I'm going to let that rest for about 20 minutes. And after resting for about 20 minutes, just carve it with a nice sharp knife. Serve with a bit of mash, maybe a little bit of gravy, and of course if you want some cabbage. But I'm just going to go mash and gravy.